Well, riddle me this. What do you get when you have a superhero suit or costume, if you will, that already seemed somewhat poorly executed, and then couple that with Hot Toys? Well, you get the makings of a not so thrilling figure. I hate to say it. And this one here, I was super excited for. It is the Hot Toys Michael Keaton Batman modern suit from The Flash. Now, we're going to be doing a little bit of a showcasing. I already took everything out of the box, and this is the figure as it will come. But before we get into that, I normally am not a box person, but let's appreciate the awesome artwork here of this box. You have the figure himself here, Michael Keaton, and then you have like the Flash logo and like the yellow electricity. I actually really do like this box. I'm not usually a box collector for those who know me, but I think this one may make the cut since it's the GOAT. Now, speaking of the GOAT, as I said, I was really excited for this figure. And am I still excited? Yes, but expectations, I think, were set a bit too high for me. There's just a couple things to go over about this figure. But first and foremost, let's admire the beauty, which is the head sculpt of this piece, which I think is the pièce de résistance of the figure. If I said that wrong, I apologize. But this is the figure as you would get it. He does have like plastic on his body for if you have the Batman, the Val Kilmer version, this suit is kind of almost not exactly the same material, but how the Val Kilmer Batman came with like a plastic sheet over him that you had to kind of peel off. That's how this came, foam inserts and all that stuff. I took all that stuff off just because, you've seen unboxings before, but I wanted to get into the nitty gritty of this because there's some stuff that concerns me. Before I got this figure, I had some reservations about some things that we are going to address. But as I said, let's take a look at what I think is the crowning jewel. And for those out there, don't mean to offend you, but for anyone out there that looks at this and thinks that this is not Old Man Keaton, well, I want to know what you're smoking, because this is absolutely extraordinary. This is an amazing head sculpt. It really is. This is Old Man Keaton from The Flash, shrunk down. Now, this was one of the concerns that I had from Hot Toys, whether or not they could deliver from Final a exceptional head sculpt that we saw with the prototype, and I think they did. This does have the rolling eyeball system that you kind of pop the back of the head off. As you see there, has a little bit of a split. It's not too noticeable. It's not too gaudy. Sometimes other per system, if you will, the seam is really terrible. I'm talking about the Batman Armory. With that, if everyone knows that Armory that recently came out, the seam was just god awful. But anyone that had concerns about this head sculpt, you can put it to rest. It is phenomenal. Now, one of the things that is not phenomenal is what I call the bat bib. Now, this is partly because this is how the suit was designed, but then how Hot Toys executed it. You could see that god-awful stitching around the neck there. It is just an eyesore. There's no way around it. It's an eyesore. It's attached to the cape itself. Now, this is not any fault of Hot Toys. This is how the suit was designed. This was a different take on Keaton's Batman, because his suits from 89 to 92, the cowl and the bat emblem were all attached as one piece. It was not like Ben Affleck or Christian Bale, where you could remove the cowl and you still have the bat emblem present on the chest. So I imagine this was just their version of doing it, so that way you could have him unmasked, but then you could also have the logo present. As you see here, this is the 1992 cowl. As you can see, the emblem is attached to the cowl itself. The only way that we were able to see somewhat of a Michael Keaton resemblance is when, at the end of the movie, he decides to rip his mask off and show his true identity to Catwoman or Selina Kyle, as you see here with the alternate version. And this was our only way of seeing Keaton's sculpt, but then also the cowl, because if you remove the bat emblem, you then just have a black rubber suit, which looks weird. So for the Flash, I understand the way they went about it, but nevertheless, I think there could have been a better design for the suit. And then you see as Hot Toys translated. But like I said, I'm not a fan of the bat bib. That is what I am calling it. But look, these are just, while we have them out, these are the sculpts. That is the original 92 from the 2-pack, which I think that sculpt still holds up. And then we have the older version there, which I think is a beautiful transition. And for those who will be getting the updated 92, I think you're going to be very happy with those changes and adding that piece to your collection. So the sculpt, once again, I want to give it a 10 out of 10, but I don't, nothing is ever really that perfect. But here we're going to look at the accessories real fast. This is the Batman cowl that I will show you swapped out. One thing you have to be careful is right here, and once again, this is suit design, how the fins kind of stick outward versus how they are on the cowl. And you can see there, mine was a little bent, so I have to heat that up and try to bend that kind of back into place. And then you also get a static cowl with a display stand, which you can display next to your Batman, if you will. You cannot use it in any way, but it is a static piece with a nice stand there. And then speaking of stands, we have the light up display base with the bat emblem, which is beautiful, which is it's carried over to the other characters in the Flash line. And then we have some of your typical usual suspect things. You have the PERS system, you have the faceplates, the Ninja Stars, which I still don't remember him using even in the Flash. There's that little level 10 device that he used when he blew up the grenades and he set the actual level to. Some of his other devices there. You also have his little bat phone, which he was made fun of. You also have the remote to the Batmobile, which he never used, but seeing as they wanted to give you accessories, you get 2 Batarangs, which he did use in the movie, and then you also get another Batarang with a wire on it, which you'll see in a moment. Normal pair of hands, you get 2 and 2. Then the 2 on the hands, you get 3 sets of each. And then there's your Batarang with the wire. A lot of these, I didn't do a comparison to the 89, but I imagine some of these, if not most of these, there's the grappling gun itself is just reused from the other figure molds. Imagine this will be, an accessory that many could use. So you can take that apart and all the same stuff as the 89. And then we have this here, which is the flight cowl, or the flight cape, I should say, which hooks to the cowl, which we're going to show you how to install that in a moment. So the wired cape is the next. So the bat bib is the first thing that I hated. And then the second thing is going to be the cape. Obviously, it's a wired cape. I've gone on record numerous times by saying Hot Toys capes are awful. And unfortunately, this doesn't do anything to persuade me otherwise. It is made of almost the same material as the Batman 2022, the Robert Pattinson version. It's like paper. There's nothing to it. It's really cheap. And I hope that we get a custom cape made by somebody. Now, what's different about this cape also is the way that it drapes. Like other Batman capes, 89, 92, it normally draped down in front of him, so it kind of covered up most of his body, as you see here. How the cape drapes front, and where you really only see like the belt and a little bit of his rib cage. The modern suit Batman, they chose to go with kind of more of a broad over the shoulder look to the cape. So although it drapes kind of midway over the shoulder pads versus down in front, which is another pretty defining difference. Once again, that's not Hot Toys' choice. That's just the way the suit's designed. The shoulder pads there are Velcro. Pretty basic, nothing standard. Nothing special, I should say. Articulation is interesting on this. Those plates there, the breastplate, that's also Velcro. They talk about this thing having better articulation. Frankly, I'm still worried even of bending this thing too far to avoid any type of creasing on the suit. So although it boasts articulation, I would advise do that at your own expense of how far you want to push the suit. Me, I wasn't willing to go too extreme. Now, one thing which is unbelievable with this Batman figure, it's our first time, I believe, we're getting articulated ankles. So you actually have full range of motion on the ankles. You can go forward, back, left, right. And I imagine they did this to get some different poses when he's gliding in flight, but that's pretty amazing how we got a split cut boot there, which I love that. And that's the first time we ever had it with the Keaton Batman. The 89 and the 92 are just a solid boot, which once again is mimicking that material, as you can see. And the articulation is, well, there is none, which is pretty amazing for the modern suit. Now, popping on the sculpt is pretty easy. You just pop this one off, and you slide on the cowl itself. Now, the front of the cowl, it covers up the back bib. So if you decide to go with the cowl, you're never going to see the back bib. But the front of the cowl, you just have to slide that piece behind the bat symbol, as you see there, and then push down, and it locks in place. Pretty simple. Some adjusting and futzing is required, but once again, the cowl design, that's not on Hot Toys. That's just the way the suit was designed, so it's a love it or hate it kind of thing. I think Hot Toys did a really good job in replicating the cowl. And then the faceplates, once again, they're a home run. This is the smirking one, which I think is very Keaton-esque. I really like this one a lot. And we're just going to take a look at the details of the cowl itself, zooming in tight, so you guys get a better idea of what this looks like up close. Now on to this thing, this monstrosity. This is the bat wings, the glider, if you will. This mechanism piece has a couple of different parts to it in order for it to install on the figure, all done by Velcro. So that, once again, another bib. The bib is always attached to the cape, and you have a back plate which Velcros to the back of the figure, and that's how the wings are attached to it. So as you open them up, that's how you get the expanded look, and then you Velcro the bib in. So it's pretty straightforward, but like I said, it's a pose, it's a design, which I don't know how many people are going to permanently display their figure like this. So as I said, you remove the cape, well, you just pop that Velcro off in the front. Just be careful not to rip anything off. That chest plate is also Velcro, so if you want to remove that, but in this case, you don't have to. And you see there, that's what this looks like. Nope, shoulder pads keep falling off, which wasn't a fan of that. And then we are going to attach this thing, which you basically slide that piece under, you get it behind the bat symbol, and get it Velcroed. So that's part of the struggle, was getting that on, to get that tucked under the symbol enough. And then you Velcro that to the back. It's pretty straightforward. And then when you put the cowl on, it kind of cements everything and locks it all in place, which is pretty straightforward. So, like I said, this is something, I wonder if this is how we are going to see the 1992 Batman. I know that new version of that suit comes with the back glider. So I imagine that this is probably going to be a similar mechanism. I can't see Hot Toys not reusing something similar to this, just because it's cost effective. As you see, that Velcro piece, it has to really be kind of tucked under that symbol. So it was a bit of a bitch to get that really all the way under, you know. And then, like I said, once you put that head on the sculpt, it locks it in place. So it's pretty straightforward. And then you make the minor adjustments as you need to, kind of adjust everything. But and then you kind of put the arms out, and that's the look. But like, once again, I'm not sure how many people will really display their figure in this way. It was only used for a minor scene, as cool as it was, maybe for some photos and stuff. But and then you have to move the arms out. But like I said, that suit, even though Hot Toys says the articulation, it's better, I don't trust it myself. The suit looks like it's prone to creasing, so That's just beware. This is just showing you the wingspan. So it is, like I said, it's pretty large. If you guys want to do photos or stuff like that with it, but you're supposed to kind of just put the arms out, but it doesn't really, there's no handles or anything like that for him to hold on to, but that's kind of how he was displayed. And then if you want to articulate the feet back, hence why the split cut in the boot, the ankle articulation gives you that option to pose him up that way. You can put him on the flight stand, the pole. It has a little bit of in the directions, the pole that comes with the display tells you to kind of put it under the belt to give him a little bit of lift. Kind of similar to, if anyone has the RoboCop 3, how that was designed, how they wanted you just to barely elevate the figure off the ground when he was wearing the jetpack. Now, this was an absolute pain in the ass, was getting the cape back on. It was an absolute nightmare. Why? Well, this could just be me, but we're going to look at that in a second. But before we do that, I figure, why don't we play around a little bit, right? So this is a 1989 Jackson drape cape. And if anyone out there is watching, anybody who makes capes, please make a custom drape cape for this figure. Please, please, please do it. This is just me fooling around with what I have. So I'm taking the drape cape. And like I said, the drape cape isn't meant to just fall in the front. It's supposed to be a little recessed. So I'm just playing with the cape. And this is just for the review. This is not meant to be a permanent display, but I'm kind of just pulling the material back and just kind of giving you guys an idea of what a better looking drape cape could look like on this figure if we got a custom one made for it. So this is just giving you a very, very basic idea of what a drape cape could look like, but it's not looking good because you see it's all bunched up in the back. This cape is not made for this figure, but I'm putting out an SOS to any of the cape makers out there for someone to please make a drape cape for this. I will be customer number 1 in line to buy this, because the stock wired Hot Toys one is garbage. It just is. Now, putting that cape back on after you put the flight pole on, it's a little tricky, because that bat symbol, there's a little bit of an air pocket there. A little, that's where the cowl slides into, if you remember. And you can see there's a Velcro. Like, see how that cowl slides behind the emblem. But with the cape, there's a piece of Velcro there. So when you put the Velcro on, that's about how far down the bib has to be. The bib has to be like down to there, like you see where my hand is, to get everything lined up. The issue I was having is that now when you go to like just insert it in, the Velcro instantly catches. So if it makes sense, you can't push it any further down because instantly the Velcro grabs. And so you just can't, it starts to get like all jammed, all jammed up. And like, if you just do this and put the sculpt on, look how stupid it looks. That's not how the look is supposed to be. That bib is supposed to be tucked deeper down inside the bat emblem. So what you do, basically, what I did was I slightly lifted up the chest plate, and then was able to slide that piece more under the emblem and then tuck everything. It's a pain in the ass, dude. It's a pain in the ass. If you have no intention of displaying the wings, I wouldn't even open them up, to be honest. So, I just want to give you my final thoughts on this. I'm going to do a little bit of showcasing with this figure. I'm using the Darth Vader 40th anniversary display base. Try to replicate the whole, you want to get nuts kind of look, him on the railings. I thought this was a pretty cool look, but I wish I had really high hopes for this figure. It's still a good looking piece, but my expectations, I think, were a bit too high. I think the suit design was interesting. There's aspects to the suit I don't like. That's because of what the suit was in the movie. And I think Hot Toys took a lot of cheap corners in terms of that. The cape is garbage. It's a paper cape. The wires just don't actually work in your favor. They just want to go their own way. The suit material, I get worried about it creasing, any type of creasings or anything. So you have to be worried about that, even doing posings like this. I'm a bit disappointed with this one. I'm not going to lie. Of all the 3 Batmans that I own, the 89, 92, and this one, this is my least. This is on the lowest of the 3. I wanted to like it a lot. The head sculpt is amazing. If this is your only Batman, or if you wanted an only Batman, my recommendation would pass on this one. go after the 92. I think that one is the one that Hot Toys executed the best, and it has the best looking suit. Once again, this figure, I think, is in a culmination. You see here, here's the three figures. The 89 2.0, that has a custom wired cape and a custom sculpt by Unreal Toys. And then we have the 92 Batman from the 2-pack, and then the modern one. And of the three, I think Hot Toys executed the 92 the best. And then especially with this 2.0, they did it the best. The modern suit, as I said, it's not your classic Michael Keaton. It's not something that people, I think of Keaton, they think of this suit. But if you're a collector of everything Keaton, I can see you guys getting this. I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer or rain on anyone's enthusiasm, but for me, my expectation maybe was just a bit too high. And I'm also trying not to walk the line of being one of those nitpickers or anal retentive people that looks at every criticism. But there's just some shit with it that I'm just pissed off with Hot Toys about. Honestly, one of my friends said it really well. Batman deserves the Iron Man treatment. They rarely fuck up Iron Man figures. They rarely do. And I think a lot of major characters like Batman or Spider-Man, they deserve the Iron Man treatment at least once. Like, give us one damn good fucking figure. And this modern suit is not it. If I had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give it like a 6. I wish I could have given it higher, but just with all the little bitty pieces to it, like I said, some of these things are not Hot Toys' fault. They're design elements of the suit, but there are things with Hot Toys I'm not happy about. The cape, I don't like how the fins on the cowl are unfortunately warped a little bit. I got to fix those. There's really no articulation with this that I was willing to push it to an extent, and so there's just elements like that with the that I think are Hot Toys' responsibility that I think they just fell short with. If you look at elements on the modern suit, I think the stitching is just terrible. The seams just are really god-awful. If you just look at the suit, like I said, trying to articulate in some ways, I think they just rushed this one, honestly, and there wasn't a lot of effort really put into this. And I think it shows, honestly, when you look at the suit compared to, like I said, the 92. It's definitely disappointing for someone that's a huge fan that maybe was really highly anticipating this figure and was really, is it a terrible piece? No. But as I said, it's possible my expectations were a bit too high. But I was also eagerly anticipating this, which is completely fair as a collector. Like, you're allowed to have whatever expectations you want to have, because based on the promotional photos and the final release, it did look amazing. But does it live up to that hype in hand? For me, no, it doesn't. It's a good looking piece, but it's not something that I think is required to have in your collection. It's definitely not the figure I would suggest for someone that doesn't own a Michael Keaton Batman. It is not the first one I would recommend getting just because it's on the market currently. I think that the ultimate Keaton figure that looks good and that Hot Toys seems to have executed the best faithfully to the look is the 1992, even the original one that I have. And then I hope that the upgraded version for, hopefully coming out this year is going to be even better than that. So that actually might be the ultimate Keaton figure. But unfortunately with the modern suit, this is a combination, as I said before, of just the suit design based on the movie and then how Hot Toys decided to execute that suit design in 6-scale form. And there's definitely corners that they cut between, like I said, the quality of the cape, the stitching material, the stitching. There's just elements on there that I'm just not overly happy with. And when it comes to the shelf presence, like I said, it looks good, but it's nothing that's blowing me away. I'll be honest with you. I'm trying to avoid it, but I am disappointed with the figure. And in terms of an overall, like, a ranking on this, if I had to give it out a scale 1 to 10, I would probably give the figure like a 6, maybe a 7 because of the head sculpt, but I'm sticking with a 6. So unfortunately, opening up 2025, this is my first Hot Toy that I got this year. And it's one that like I said, I expected probably more out of, or I hoped for more out of. And I feel Hot Toys underperformed with this figure, and it did deserve better treatment than that. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Michael Keaton fan, but it is true when you see them put the love and support into Iron Man. I do wish that we got a Batman figure that they really went all out on and gave it the Iron Man treatment. That's just my 2 cents. But let me know what you guys' thoughts are in the comments below. Please consider dropping a like on this video and subscribing to the channel for this and more in the future. Thank you so much for watching. This is Mr. Mom Collectible saying take care, and I will see you guys in the next video.